So the first thing I'm gonna do for your viewing pleasure is model a house. So very quickly, I'm going to go into Rhino, go to my units, because that's what we always do first. Change it. And I'm gonna model a house. Oh my, oh my, oh my. That is just unnecessary. Volume, my goodness. Let's just mute it. Okay. Rectangle. Extrude. Offset. Surface. Flip all. Solid. Sharp corners. 8 inches. Enter. Already making mistakes. Shaded. Not solid. Draw a nice little roof on this baby. Architecture. So this is my house. Super nice. I'm done. Don't worry, it only took me a decade to get this good at Rhino. Just 1 decade. Okay, so one thing that some other people have asked about is stairs. Actually, some of you have done a really good job of figuring that out on your own. We talked about it briefly, But I'm just gonna quickly demonstrate stairs again. So let's say we're gonna have stairs. This is a one-story house. I don't know where the stairs are going in this house, but we're just gonna draw them. So the best way I think for you to sort of draw stairs right now is in the side view. So either in the right view or the front view, you can take a line and draw how tall the stair is, which is called the rise. What's the rise of a stair? So y'all have 7-Elevens here, right? So it's 7, and the run is 11. And this is the general code for stairs. So typically, you just straight up start with 7-Eleven. So draw 7 inches, enter. Does that seem right? Sure. And then draw 11 inches, oops, over, enter. That's a codable stair. And the easiest way to, again, take this is to copy it. Up, 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 to I don't know where. A really nice side patio, maybe. And then once you have that curve set the way you want, you can join the curves, sure, and then extrude that curve. Since I'm in the side view, I want it to extend to the side. Stairs. Super. My stairs to nowhere. I'll just put it in the middle. So let's say you have, snap, snap. So let's say that when you look at it, this isn't tall enough or it's too tall. Like back in the day, you used to have to like mathematically figure out exactly how many it was and then draw it to be exactly that. So boring. All you need to do is stretch stuff or scale 1D. So if you are like trying, again, this is an example. I do not want you to like overdo this, but if I am trying to get this many steps to go all the way up to this top line, I'm gonna grab my stairs and hit scale 1D and then just stretch it up. Stop snapping. And there we go. I have tall stairs. Scale 1D and stretch. What you will have to be mindful of is that is now 8 inches and 7/8. That's too tall. So you're working within a couple inches, not multiple feet. I should have added some more stairs. Does that make sense to everyone? So you do your stairs, 7-Eleven, and then you will scale 1D them if they're not hitting the floor properly. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is we're going to extract an axonometric drawing from this beautiful house. So we do that with a command called make 2D. So with make 2D, you are grabbing all of your geometry here. And this is the first demonstration. Type make 2D. And then this pops up. There is something called current view. that means that I am in perspective view and it's going to look at that view to make this drawing. I never really use any of these other ones. There are options called show tangent edges. I've never really used that. Hidden lines will come in handy later on. And then also, I've never used this viewport rectangle, but maintain source layers is also important. So the only thing you really will investigate in your projects is the show hidden lines and maintain source layers. So after you've made your selections, you just hit OK. And you head back to 0, 0, because some of you are like drawing out over here in outer space, which is fine. Like all new people drag their crap all over the place and then it's like you have no idea where it is. But your drawings will always be at 0, 0. I'm just gonna move this over here and we'll look at it. So you see that it drew everything. It drew these things. I didn't really need it to draw that. You can just grab them and delete them. They're lines now. It drew this because it was parallel to the top of the roof. Doesn't know that you don't want to draw that, so it's just gonna draw it. You can always go back and clean that up, but I find it much easier to just delete some lines. It didn't draw lines here or here, right? Does it make sense that there needs to be like a line here to you all? I usually am lazy and I just draw a line. So there it is, done. So a lot of when you all were looking for diagram inspiration, you were seeing things like this, these simple diagrams, and this is how they do it. It's just like very straightforward. So this is a perspective. It's like an axonometric perspective. That's what we would call that drawing. What's another drawing that architects use? Louder. Sure, elevations. So the views on the front, the view on the right, the view on the sides, those are all called elevations. So you go into your view, exact same process. Make 2D, current view, okay. Go back out to your plan view at 0, 0. Done. There's another view, this one over here. Let's grab it. Make 2D. Okay. Done. What are the lines that need to be cleaned up here? There's one missing here. I don't know what this is doing. I don't know what this is doing. That makes sense. So this is the general process that you will engage in for your drawing that will be due next week. So what's the very bad thing I did when I was modeling this building? The very bad thing I did while modeling this building was, okay, I did not use layers. So bad. So this is where layers come into play. This is all one line weight, and typically architecture drawings are not one line weight. The roof and the walls might be a thicker line weight, and then the glass might be a thinner line weight, It has to do with a lot of other Please don't take me to Pinterest. I just don't have the energy. Okay, so you see there will be, this is a like maybe a weird second story plan. The line that is the outline of the roof, that's a thick line. And the pattern for the tiles, the shingles, that's a thin line. That's actually incorrect. We'll go back up here. The walls are sometimes filled in, dark black. And then you'll see that's a stark contrast to these light colored stairs, and that the door is also light. So this is what line weights mean and why it's important to use layers. If I have done a really awesome job and made all my walls on a wall layer, I can now go in and just grab all the walls and change that line weight immediately. Same thing with the stairs. And also it's very helpful when we do the next part of the assignment, which is rendering and material assignment. So this is, I feel like layers is like a long time coming lessons learned, but you'll find out if you're not a fan of them yet. So what I'm gonna do is quickly go over here and make some layers so you can see what is happening. What's important to note is I very badly drew everything on default. And now there are more layers under this tab called Make 2D. So now all my drawings, lines, are on a separate layer. And they all have new layer names. This is automatically generated via the command. Okay, new layers. Roof. This is my glass. Change object layer. This is my roof. Change object layer. These are my walls. Change object layer. Here we go. Let's try this again. See what the difference is. Grab everything. I'm kind of done with these holes. And type make 2D. Now this is where you go and you make some changes. Maintain source layers. If you don't maintain your source layers, it will all just be, again, on those default make 2D lines, and that's not doing you any favors. So let's click maintain source layers. Okay. And now you can see it's all nice and colorful. A little harder to read, but I know those aren't supposed to be there. If I wanted to go make some more lines, you can drag this over so it's more legible. Oop, wrong one. I can actually make my lines here on the right layer. Oops, line. So this is the basics. If we'll talk more about plans moving forward, but if you had wanted to do a plan of your building, if you make 2D just this, it will just be the roof, not the plan. So there are some interesting strategies for getting around that, but pretty much you will need to do a section cut, which we'll talk about later, but I'll demonstrate now. It's called a clipping plane. So you type clipping plane, you draw a rectangle in a view, and it pops up with this sort of symbol that looks like this. The symbol is showing where it's cutting, so that's this yellow line here, and the direction that it's showing. So everything else is being cut. So if I grab this and move it up, you see that this is going to change. You see how the stairs are like growing? Little stairs, big stairs, little stairs, big stairs. So moving this shows what's cut. One thing that is annoying is, you know, you don't have all the views showing that. If you want to cut other views, you can do that here. So in the front view, I've now chopped off the top part, so it's a little bit clearer what's going on. Hours of fun. If you want to do a section, which is cutting it down the middle, you can either draw the rectangle again, or you can rotate it. Whee! So much fun. This is one of those you have to use multiple windows to get this. Let's say this is our section that we want to do. You can grab this view, make 2D. Okay. Where'd it go? Oops. My bad. Oh, ha. Okay. It's here, but it's like not right, but we will go over this later. Delete. So the next, this is just an FYI though, this isn't what's due. What you will need to be able to get to is something like this. Something with multiple layers, multiple line weights. You're just grabbing your geometry and taking a picture of it from the outside so that it looks like an axon. Once you have this portion done in Rhino, you will grab marquee over all your curves that you want to export and say, File, Export Selected, and then this window pops up. So there is a way to export things in as Illustrator formats. But the issue is that it doesn't give you the really nice option to scale it when you import it into Illustrator. And so if you are drawing a 700-foot anything, it's going to try and import into Illustrator as 700 feet perhaps. If you didn't remember to scale it, it might not be in a good place. So what happens a lot of time, if you export it as an Illustrator, you'll open it and then you can't find your drawing. It's like multiple issues could be going on. So I recommend instead of using Illustrator, you use AutoCAD Drawing, which is a DWG file. So this file prompts you to scale it onto the artboard when we open it in Illustrator, which is super useful. So we'll do that. I'll put it on my desktop, everything else. Call it drawing and hit save. Okay. So I'm in Illustrator. Create new. Okay, can I just like never have this again? That would be great. So we're going to file, and also you can just open these just regular. So go to open, I called it something really unuseful like drawing. So I'm not importing or anything, I'm opening it. Open, and this is the stuff. This is the magic. You can keep it the original size, which would be like 20 feet by 40 feet. We don't want that. You can scale it to fit the artboard, which means the picture would all fit on this white plane back here. Well, that seems ideal. But if you are also creating scaled drawings, you could scale them here if you didn't export them properly scaled. So I'm gonna scale it to fit the artboard because I just want it to land over here. Hit OK. Yay, it's beautiful. So last thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna delete this line, don't know what it's doing there. Oop, not that one. Last thing I'm going to do is change these line weights. So what do you think the strongest line weight should be? Like what should be the most prominent? There's three things. There's glass, there's a roof, and then there's walls. Which one is the darkest line? Walls or roof? I think those are both equally fair. When you click on a line, you can go over to layers, and this is a reason this is super handy. Any line that you click on, you'll see a little color box here, and that means that's the line you're clicked on. I have one wall line selected. It's telling me the layer. This make 2D visibility blah 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 is really annoying, but you can also just drag this out and see what is walls, roof, glass, and default. Default's bad. So let's grab the walls. You can grab the walls by just clicking on this dot beside the layer, and that grabs all your walls. Go back over to properties, change it to a color. Black is a normal color for this. And then you can also change the line weight. 2 seems thick. You can do the same with the roof. Layers, roof, click to grab them all. Properties, black, 1 point. And then you can also grab your glass. Voila, architecture. One thing that's confusing is you were seeing that the color, this was blue, does not match these colors over here. So just be mindful of that. If you have like a purple roof and you come over and you, or what I had, like, so for example, this glass was green. I come over to my layer tab, I will see something green. I'm like, that's my glass layer. It is not. So this is one of the things that sort of translates differently in Illustrator, because in Illustrator, anything can be any color. This is just trying to help you visualize the layers better. So the last thing I will tell you is some of you have gone down the path of populating things from the interwebs, which is cool and fine. Let me go find something else. Thingiverse is another place that you can go to for these things. It's the same concept, only this is typically geared towards people that are 3D printing things afterwards. So I'm going to, this is Le Corbusier. Oh no, it's by Le Corb. So boring. Anyways, I'm gonna put this person in. That seems like something that you might want to do, right? Put a person in your model. You know, a lot of people do that. You know, it's a good way to make scale. So what you can do is you can download a file, and I think you should probably still download it from SketchUp most likely, but this is just a example. So I've downloaded my file from SketchUp or something. I am importing it. Desktop, person, open, okay. So often when you download something, you'll like have no idea where it goes. So this one was actually shockingly scaled correctly. Oh my gosh, look at that, that's adorable. There's a little person next to my house. It's exactly what I wanted. So people in architecture are really important. Like all of your drawings will include this because they give everyone scale, a sense of scale. So this is something we will do later, but you don't have to use 3D models of it to do that. So I have this person. I want to make 2D this person. You will see that this sort of looks different, and that is because it is a mesh. So if you ever find that something is not doing what you want it to do, look up at your command, click on the object, look up here, and see what type it is. If it says mesh, it is algorithmically different than poly surfaces or NURBS, and you cannot make 2D that. But I'm gonna show you what happens if you really, really passionately, because some of you have like, you have to do this. Like Candelette has like a airplane wing that she downloaded. You know, that you shouldn't go about like remodeling that. So what you need to do is you go mesh to NURB. That changes it from a mesh to a NURB, and you don't really need to know more about it than that. It also duplicates it. So there is a mesh here, And now there's a NURB. He's also missing hands. Sorry, forgot about those. Now you can grab your poly surface and type make 2D. All right, well, that's kind of weird. So when you make 2D like a mesh, you're going to get all these lines. It's like the worst color ever. Indiscriminately. And so, yeah, you can go about deleting things until it makes sense. But you should know, like, if you make 2D like this, like, you might have to do some work to clean up that, because this is all kind of weird. And then my closing remark for that is that you must save your work before you endeavor in changing meshes to NURBs or changing make 2D these big things, because this is when crashing happens. Again, we've advanced a decade since I started doing this, but I used to finish modeling my entire beautiful building and then make 2D and walk away and go get coffee and come back, and it's been 20 minutes and it's still working, and then it would eventually work. So this is when crashing and patience are crucial. So just save your work before you start changing meshes to NURBs and make 2D'ing those things. Any questions? So what will be due next week will be effectively something like this. A drawing with multiple line weights of your project.